Well, hello again, everyone. I'm back from my holiday. We had a really lovely time. Beautiful cruise around Italy and adjoining countries. So, when I got back, there was a little package waiting for me from a very generous lady in Florida called Betty, and she sent me this beautiful card. Isn't that stunning? Absolutely stunning. Can you see the twinkle in it? And it's from Betty. Betty lives in Florida, and Betty and I may be able to hatch up a bit of a plan to meet up, because as I'm rather partial to cruising, we're actually taking a cruise next year in April, beginning in Miami and ending up back home here in Southampton. So we stay a night in Miami before we embark on the cruise, so there may be a chance for me to meet up with Betty, which would be wonderful. There is another chance for meeting up for people in Kenilworth this October. Matthew from Miser Print and Anne are arranging a crafty day with Deb Hallett and myself. They're doing a bit of, demonstrating, having a bit of a play, really, having a bit of fun. So as many of you as could come, it would be wonderful to meet you. The places are filling up, but there are some spaces. So if you possibly can go, it would be wonderful to meet you. Anyway, these are the stamps that Betty sent me, that Lavinia stamps. I think I may have the odd one or two little tiny fairies, but I haven't actually used them very much. But aren't they just stunning? Look at this. And this wonderful toadstool. So what I thought I'd do is try and resurrect a technique that I think I kind of invented some time ago when I did a tutorial for split coast stampers, which was double stamping on vellum. You stamp on one side with regular ink, stamp on the other side with an embossing ink. So what I thought I'd try today is these two stamps. This is Honeysuckle, I believe, and I don't know what that is quite, but isn't it pretty? Looks a bit like hibiscus or something, doesn't it? I don't know if it says anything on the packet. What does it say anything? Lilium. Lilium, some kind of lily then. Fairy toadstool and honeysuckle. Well, I recognise the honeysuckle. I was right with that one. Anyway, let's get going. What I want to do, I pop this stamp onto here. I've got a piece of vellum. This is from Anne-Marie Crafts. I really like their vellum. And I thought I would just stamp one. Often with this technique, I've done a whole background. But I think I'm just going to do one. And I'm going to stamp in Versafine Clair, the black. So let's just have a go. Let's see how these stamp straight. Look at the detail. Isn't that beautiful? Let's have a go. Pop that on like that. Looks wonderful. Look at the shading on the leaves and the stem. Fabulous. Whoa, look at that. Isn't that magic? Look. What a beautiful stamp. Now, I've got to be careful now because that's going to be damp for a little while. And on vellum, it'll probably take longer to dry than it would on regular card, because regular card is slightly more absorbent. I think I'm not quite sure what to do. I might just give it a little bit of heat or just leave it. So kind of watch this space. I'll be back. Well, I gave it a little whiz with the heat tool. It still looks very shiny. I'm going to see what happens. I'll do it onto a piece of this just so it doesn't go all over the work surface. What I'm thinking of doing now is stamping perhaps one of those like that, And another one, kind of, or maybe two there, and see how we go on. Let's just see. I'm going to use Versamark and some gold embossing powder this time. This may be a huge mistake, but there's only one way to find out, isn't there? Let's just have a go. I think I emboss these one at a time rather than doing all the stamping in case I do just kind of smudge. Let's just see. Before I start, I will just do a bit of this with my anti-static. Oh, this stuff in here smells lovely. Don't know what the make of that one is. Let's have a go. Now, here we go. I think it's okay. All right. I get a little piece of paper just to pop underneath while I put the embossing powder on. And the finger marks there. There we go. Don't know where to put it. You see the detail? Isn't that beautiful? Goodness me. Right, I'll put this down now on the other side. This probably still a bit damp on that side. You have to kind of be careful because I don't want to transfer any more onto the back. Now, with the smaller of the two, whatever they were, lilies, were they? Some kind of lily? My mother's name was Lily. And I have a niece who has the exact same name. Actually, she's a great niece. Right, here we go. Let's try this one. Now, what I have a fancy for doing, I don't know if I want to put any more on, is making a frame for this, or putting it into a frame so that there's a piece kind of like that. I've got this vision of a square, so putting it into a frame. So I'll just get, that is lovely, isn't it? I'm just wondering whether to put any colour into any shading. I don't mean colour, I mean like grey or something into the petals of the honeysuckle. I'm going to leave it for the minute. It's just kind of ideas jumping out at me. Right, now I'll make the frame. Well, I've dug out a couple of dies to make a frame. If you have sets of dies and you want ones that are stitched, you need to have double stitched, that is the stitching line either side of the cutting line, so that whichever one you use, you will have stitching on it, whether it's an aperture or an actual piece on the top. So what I'm going to do is, I've chosen two consecutive dies from a nesting set. These are from Creative Expressions, I believe, but there are so many different makes of nesting dies in various shapes. So what I want to do, as I say, is to put these down. I've looked at my image here, and I chose a die that I thought that will be enough of my picture to go in. So that is the one I want just the aperture to be, and then I'll have another one which will actually make the frame itself. So that's kind of where I was at. So I'm going to pop these onto a piece of card, and I'm going to tape them down. Because I want to make this frame sort of stand out a bit more, I'm going to stack it. So I want to tape them together so that the, you know, they'll be the same distance apart for however many pieces I want to put into my stack. I'm thinking probably 2, but may need more. Don't know. Let's just see. Put a couple of pieces of tape on. There we go. There are so many Americans on this cruise, hardly any British. I think they seem to like, I've got one in, they seem to like the Norwegian Cruise Line way of kind of cruising, which is very casual. No black tie-dos on Norwegian Cruise Line. Right, so here's one of my frames. You see what I mean? There's a stitch line on the piece you cut out and on the aperture. So I've got 2 sets of stitch lines. That's going to go kind of around there like that. So keeping them taped together as is, to see if I can get another one. Don't know if I can get it out of this piece. Okay. Will it fit? Not quite. I'm going to have to use another piece. Okay. All these extra bits, they don't get wasted. They'll get used for something or other. Okay. I'll find a use for that when I've got the dirty mark off it. So let's just do another one. I'm using a piece of mylar over my die just to protect my top plate. It stops it from getting too many indentations from the dies. Lasts a lot longer. So with the magic mat on the bottom and a piece of mylar on the top, my plates do last quite a lot longer. Okie dokie, so there's my second frame. So I can stick these 2 together to surround my image. And I'm going to pop it onto a square card. I've cut my base for the card here, and that is the length of a sheet of A4, British A4. So I've cut it to the depth so that when scored, it will make a frame. Not a frame, it will make a square. Got frames on the brain. I've got mounds and mounds of laundry to do. The first lot went in. My car had to go into the garage this morning because the sensor was showing a fault, which I've taken it in for 3 times. And they actually found the reason today. There's a chip out of one of my parking sensors, so they hopefully will get it sorted. So that's going to go on there. And I just think that looks, you know, kind of nice. So I think what I'll do is stick this onto there. Let's join these together first. Let me just join these 2 together. I was thinking they were joined together. They fit so beautifully. Right. Put this on. Is that the best one? Doesn't matter, they're the same. Right, let's just join these 2 together. Had some lovely comments on the posts I put when I was away on my holiday. I tried a smoked old-fashioned cocktail. Never had a smoked one before. It's quite an experience. If you haven't seen the video, do take a look. It's magic. Okay, there's my frame. Now, what shall I do? Shall I just stick that onto there and cut it off afterwards? Can't. Oh, decisions. I think I will. I think I will. I just hope I'm going to do the right thing. No, I think I'll put some tape runner on this. The reason being, it won't slip like the glue would. The glue's got a bit of manoeuvrability, but I want it to kind of stay where I put it. So if I use this, it should do the trick. Just hope I can cut the vellum off that I don't want close enough. We'll see. I always say there's always a way, but sometimes you have to make it a bit of a fiddly way. Okay, let's have a look. I want this to be kind of there. Okay, now I've got to cut these sides off. See what I mean? I didn't want it to move. Doesn't matter how you cut it, really. Okay. There we go. And I've got a smudge there. How did I do that? Can you see? There's a smudge there. I think we'll have to ignore it. Be part of the design. Okay, I'll put some more tape runner on this and we will pop it down. Perhaps I touched it with my finger as I was... Oh, I don't know. Try to be so careful. It does take such a long time to dry on vellum ink. Okay. Beware if you do it that you need to make sure you don't touch the... Might have been when off the piece of mylar I put in there. Who knows? I need to concentrate more. Right. Do you know, I'm thinking I would like that raised. I'm going to put some foam tape on instead. Let's just see. I think I'd like it raised. I will put a link below this video to the original video that I did with, I used white embossing ink and brown. I was doing leaves. So I will put a link to that video in case you want to see that. That was with a kind of an all-over background rather than just a couple of bits on it. So it's a different kind of thing, but I just thought it would, I don't know, make a change. Let's have a go. Oh dear. Stuck to my thumb. Smarty sticky. There we go. Now, let's see. That's pretty, isn't it? Just check it's the front. Oh, goodness me. There we go. Isn't that pretty? thank you so much, Betty. That was so kind of you. And let's hope next year things will work out and we can actually meet up. So, lovely to be back. Hate to say it, but I'm going away again next week. I'm going to Northumberland for a week with some friends of ours. Lovely part of the world, part where my father came from. So I'm going to have to make the most of this week because, as I say, next week I'll be away again. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for giving thumbs up. And thank you so much to all those people who, whilst I was away, was watching my old videos. So kind, very thoughtful. And I'm very grateful. I'll see you again soon. Thanks so much.